Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda and today we're going to be doing my TBR for the month of August. In the month of August, I am also going to be taking part in the NEWTs read along, the magical readathon, whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to be doing the Tome Topple readathon. So I am really excited to talk to you guys about the books that I'm planning on reading for the entirety of August. First off, I did end up sitting down and writing out what classes I need to take and everything that I need to read for the month of August in order to get my career, but I'm not going to go into a ton of detail with all of that because I'm going to be vlogging every single week while I'm reading during the month of August. So if you want to know which courses I'm reading for and which ones I need to read for and what books I'm reading specifically for those, check back in the future. I'm going to try to save most of my big books for the Tome Topple readathon, but almost every single book I'm reading will fit into that, and I'm reading like 15 plus books this month, so that's gonna suck. But basically I'm not trying to put any book specifically for Tome Topple, but I am going to be reading for it once it gets here. I'll kind of figure out the details then. This is the second time I filmed this video. Hopefully this time it goes a little bit better because last time I got too hung up on the details. Anyways, basically to get the NEWTs, there are 3 categories for every single class, and to get an E you have to also read for an A, and to get an O you have to read for the E and the A beforehand, blah blah blah. Yeah. G from Book Roast did a video talking about kind of all the effects that the Harry Potter conundrum, J.K. Rowling stuff, all that jazz, how it's affecting this year, and I will try to remember to leave the video linked down below where she talks about it. I'm just trying to have a fun time reading and following some prompts. I like reading prompts and I like challenging myself into reading a large amount of books, but I can't read a book for every single A, E, and O for every single class. Like, it's not gonna happen. So my goal is to read at least 1 book for every single class, which will be 12 books, and then if I have extra time, to read extra books for the classes that I need more than 1 book to read in. Hope that makes sense. Starting off the top of the month, I am currently in the middle of Children of Blood and Bone by Tome Topple. I am about 50 pages in and it's a few days until the 1st of August, so I'll probably be maybe halfway through this book once August actually starts. I am going to count this for NEWTs because there are no rules. Life is chaos. Reading challenges are what you put into them. You don't win or lose anything if you read or you don't read, so I'm counting it. I am somewhat enjoying this book. I will have to say that the first 2 chapters didn't really grasped me, but chapter 3 changed POVs and I liked it a lot more. I'm still not totally sure what this book is about, but I know that it takes place in an African-inspired fantasy setting. In this setting, magic is gone. It's been taken away, basically. It's been hidden, and certain people used to be able to have it, but they don't have it anymore, and those people are basically seen as lesser, not really treated that well. So I'm really interested to continue on with this book and see kind of how society treats those people and what happens to them. But then I'm also going to be reading the sequel because I got both of them at the same time and I finally took my sticker off. Yay! So I'm also going to be reading this book. I have no clue what this book is about. I just know it's a lot smaller than the first one. I'm not going to figure out what this book is about so I can tell you because I think that will spoil parts from the first one. So we're gonna set that back down. Next, let's talk about what my book club is going to be reading. So my book club picked out a few different books that we're actually going to be reading together. It's gonna be a huge mess, let me tell you this. So the book we voted on is 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. So I'm going to be reading the first one. This is the bind up. There are 3.5 books in here because there are 3 full-length novels and 1 novella, so I'm only reading up through these tabs. I also can't totally tell you what this one is about. I know it's a fantasy that revolves around gods. I know that N.K. Jemisin is an awesome writer. I have read all of her Broken Earth series. I am really excited to be picking this up and reading it, and I'm so glad that my book club voted on reading this one. That was the book we voted on, but along with voting on a book every single month, we kind of have a chat going where we discuss books that we all want to read at some point, and if enough of us want to read one in a particular month, I also set it up for us to read it together. So we have 3 more books that we are reading together. The first of that is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I've read this 2 times previously. This will be my 3rd time. I was already planning on rereading it this year, so it's great that my book club wants to read it with me because I want to read it with some people and squeal about how great this book is. So this book is based in a fantasy realm where a princess is sent off to marry, his name is the God King, and the God King has this extreme magical ability to control basically, well, you know what? I'm not going to tell you all of his abilities. I'm going to leave the summary for my wrap up because this book is awesome and I think everyone should read it and I love it so much and I don't want to spoil anything for you. So just go check it out. Please, please, please. It is so good. Honestly, this is my favorite Brandon Sanderson book ever and I've read a lot of his books at this point. So like, check it out, please. Next, my book club is also going to be picking up The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. So yeah, this is a book that managed to make it on my 12 and 12 book video that I talked about a few weeks ago. I've been pushing this off since last October and I need to actually finally read it. So I'm glad that my book club is giving me the excuse to do it. I don't know what this book is about, but I'm going to be reading it and I'm going to be telling you what it's about once I've finished reading it. The final book that we are reading together is An Ember in the Ashes. I have read this book 2 times previously. I actually attempted to read it twice, DNF'd it twice, attempted to read it 2 more times, managed to finish it 2 more times. I don't necessarily love this book. I think I gave it like a 3 out of 5 stars, so it's like not bad but not good, kind of just meh in the middle for me. But I really like the books later on in the series and I'm super excited about the 4th one coming out in December. So I'm going to be rereading the entire series and my book club decided that we wanted to have a nice little chat about it while we are all reading it. So if you're interested in any of those books and want to read them with us in August or just talk about them with people, the Discord is down below. And if you want to know things that are coming up in the future about my book club, I just created a Twitter for it, so you can also find that down below where I'll make announcements and let you know certain things. Also, really exciting news, my book club is doing a really chill 24-hour readathon August 1st if you want to participate. That'd be awesome. All we're doing is just reading, but like in a really chill sense, seeing how much we can all read to start off the month in a good, honest setting and feel great about ourselves. Yeah. So the next 2 books that I'm hoping to read to get my NEWTs finished up is going to be the 5th and 6th Harry Potter. I'm not going to talk about them for very long because everyone knows what Harry Potter's about. I think even in my wrap up, I'm not really going to talk about them that much. I think I'm just going to let you know whether or not I've actually finally finished them because I've been putting these on my TBR for months now because I just haven't wanted to finish them. The next book that I'm going to be reading is Harrow the Ninth by Tasman Muir. This is the sequel to Gideon the Ninth, which is one of my favorite books of 2020. I read it earlier this year and then I loved it so much I reread it this past month. It was so good. 5 out of 5 stars. So good. I can't tell you what Harrow the Ninth is going to be about because 1, I don't know what Harrow the Ninth is going to be about, and 2, it'll totally spoil the ending of Gideon the Ninth, which is such a fantastic ending. One of my favorite endings in a book of all time, and I'm not spoiling that for anyone. So just go check it out. It's a great book series and I love it so much. Where sci-fi and fantasy meet and we get necromancers in space and they're lesbians. What's to hate? After that, I'm hoping to listen to the audiobook for The Queen of the Tyrling. This is a book that I had previously borrowed from my library, listened to 1 chapter of, and then had to give back to my library. So I count it as a DNF, but like, it's not technically a DNF. I just have never been able to pick it back up in like the years since I stopped reading it. I think I'm going to stop telling you guys I don't know what these books are about because let's just assume that I don't know what books are about going into them because I prefer to go into books not knowing what they're about. After that, I'm hoping to pick up the book The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I'm going to be listening to this. This is also going to be a borrow from my library. I'm really excited about this because I've heard it described as an abstract fantasy, which is something that I'm really enjoying recently. So I'm hoping to pick it up. I'm hoping to love it. Please let me know down below if you've read this one because I'm really interested in finding out which N.K. Jemisin books are everyone's favorites. As I've already finished the 5th season, they're kind of my only option right now. And finally, I'm going to be picking up The Eye of the Worlds by, what's his name? I forgot his name, so I'm not gonna be able to tell you his name. I'm picking this up because I want to be reading a little bit more classic fantasy. I love fantasy. It's pretty much all I read. I want to be reading more diverse fantasy as I go, but I also feel like I lost out on reading a lot of the classic fantasy books that were written back in the 1990s. Unfortunately, most of those are written by white men, and I'm trying to read less books by white men, but I figure, how's this gonna hurt me? I'm gonna try a classic one that everyone talks about and see if it's actually any good, and then I'll let you guys know if it's worth picking up and reading. After that, I'm going to be picking up Trail of Lightning by, oh my goodness, you know what? I forgot her name too. I'm so sorry. The author is of Navajo descent, and the main character, I believe, or it is the secondary character, is also of Navajo descent. For I know that the story takes place where a young girl has gone missing, and this woman is sent to find her, and with the help of a medicine man, they go off into, I think it's like modern day USA to hunt her down, but there's like all kinds of weird fantasy stuff happening as well. I'm so excited about this one. It's a very short read, so I'm going to be probably knocking it out in one day, and I can't wait, honestly. After that, I'm going to be picking up Kindred by Octavia Butler. This is a more sci-fi story about a woman who I think is sent back in time, maybe. Yeah, again, another book. I don't totally know everything about it. We've already discussed. Let's move on. I'm really excited about this one because I've never read any of Octavia's books, and I hear that she is fantastic, and she's also kind of along the realm of like classic fantasy sci-fi writers, so I'm really excited to be picking her up and hoping that I love this one and being able to pick up more of her books in the future. After that, I'm going to be picking up a manga for possibly the first time ever. I honestly can't tell you the last time I read one. Anyways, I'm going to be picking up Tommy, is how I believe it's pronounced, by Junji Ito, and I'm really excited because this one was recommended to me by a friend, and I'm going to be reading it pretty much on the first day of August, so if you want to know more about it, check out my 24-hour readathon vlog that is going to be coming up hopefully the 2nd of August, but I might be too tired after the first day, especially because I'm still getting over a cold. So check out that video if you want to know more about it. The final book for the month that I have on the list so far, because hopefully I'll be able to read more than this, because isn't that what we're always hoping, is that we can read more than we actually think we can read, is going to be The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. This also made it in my 12 and 12 video. I actually picked up the audiobook, and I'm hoping to be able to pick up the physical copy from my library so that I can listen and read along at the same time, and I can just really digest this book and understand it in its full form. So from what I remember, this is a mystery thriller that takes place after the death of a woman at a fancy party, and the narrator takes you through different people's perspectives of the murder, and so you're kind of taken back and forth throughout time, and apparently it's really confusing and everyone doesn't really know what's going on, but I love that stuff and I love crime TV, so let me try reading a little bit more crime in my novels. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this video. If you have read any of these books, let me know down below. I'd love to talk to you about them. No spoilers because I haven't read them yet. You can do spoilers at the end of the month. Well, you shouldn't do spoilers without marking them so other people aren't spoiled. Thanks for letting me know if you've read these books. I'm gonna go now because I actually really want to go read about another 50 pages of this today to see if it picks up a little bit more. I don't remember how my outro goes, so until next time, I'll talk to you all in the comments. Bye!